Hi, and welcome to the first episode of the Milk and Minds series, Cultivating Excellence in Indiana Classrooms. I am so excited about this new series of live streams coming to you during this school year. I am Marty Hoofer. I am the digital content manager for Keep Indiana Learning, and I am just thrilled to have with us three brave souls joining us on the first episode. Those that join us in the May episode, they're going to be, standing on your brave shoulders. So thank you, Ashley and Angela and Sarah, for joining us today. I'm going to let you introduce yourselves and then we will get started. So Ashley, I will throw it to you first for a brief intro.
Hi, I'm Ashley Johnson, and I teach at DeKalb High School in Waterloo, Indiana. And I received my Milken Award just recently in 2024.
Nice. Angela, you want to go ahead and go?
For sure. My name is Angela Fowler. I am currently a math instructional coach at Grassy Creek Elementary School in Greenwood, Indiana. And I taught in fourth grade before that for about 10 years. And I was the recipient of the Milken Educator Award in 2022.
Nice. And Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Powley. I received the Milken Award in 1993, and I'm recently retired from a great many years in the Tippecanoe School Corporation as a high school English teacher and an instructional coach for all disciplines 6 through 12.
Oh, I love that. First, congratulations to all of you. I mean, what an honor, and so many lives you're touching in so many content areas. I love the diversity in the content areas and grades we have represented here today. So let me start with a little introduction about who Milken educators are. A Milken educator is a top performing teacher, principal, or education professional recognized for excellence in education and leadership. Selected through a confidential process, Milken educators receive the prestigious Milken Educator Award, often called the Oscars of Teaching, for their innovation, dedication, and ability to inspire students and colleagues alike. They become part of a national network of change makers committed to shaping the future education. And our Indiana network, which we have represented here, is coming together with a mission to connect, inspire, and sustain Indiana educators. And I'm so glad you are bringing your experience and your knowledge to the Keep Indiana Learning platform. It is an honor that we get to be a part of your mission. So thank you for joining us here. We are doing 10 episodes this year, and today's panel discussion is called Maximizing the Moment, Strategies for Productive Parent-Teacher Conferences. Topic on the minds of many educators. And I will never forget being that first parent-teacher conference night. The nerves maybe were unlike any other I have ever had in my life. I've never done anything like that before. And so I appreciate that you're going to give folks strategies and ideas of how to feel empowered going into that evening. So today we're going to explore actionable strategies for educators to make the most of every parent-teacher conference, and going to discover how to foster stronger home and school connections, and as always, drive student success through these moments. So let's get started. Ashley, I'm going to put you on the hot seat first. Why are parent-teacher conferences such a critical opportunity for student growth and family-school partnerships? It's more than just saying what the grade is. How can we use these moments?
It's really important to establish that connection with the families because students don't compartmentalize their lives. So like their home life is not just at home. Their school life is not just at school. It all blends together. So we all have to work together. Like if the kid is going through a hard time at home, maybe they had a pet that recently passed away, that's going to transfer over into their school life. So keeping that communication open. Plus, we all get busy, and it's important to have positive interactions with the families. A lot of times we push off things because we're so busy, and then we're only making those connections when there's something negative to talk about. So it's important to have some positive and keep the lines of communication open.
Absolutely. Angela or Sarah, you have anything there?
You go for it, Sarah.
Okay. Well, I would say that that definitely you're looking for partnership. You're looking to establish a relationship. You do not know at what point during the school year your knowledge of that parent and that parent's teacher's knowledge, that parent's knowledge of you as a teacher will become important to your being able to do something together. So if you know each other and you have had a positive experience in your very first meeting, that will go a long way to making it be a continually positive experience.
It's a great point.
And I just want to bring up too, it depends on your school system and how big your school is, but the amount of times you get to be in person with someone is very few a lot of the times. And I think we forget sometimes how powerful that is. And communication in general is important, but sometimes, just messaging through a school app or making a phone call are great ways to communicate. But like being in person is just extremely valuable. So.
Excellent point. As we live in this very digital age that, man, how often do you get to sit down with a parent? And it's a great point. Well, Sarah, in your experience, what makes a parent-teacher conference feel successful for everyone, for parent, teacher, and student? What makes that, what are those criteria that needs to happen?
Well, I think, first of all, when you're thinking about how you greet the parent in the first place, it's as if you're inviting the parent into your home. And we really need to think of our classroom as our home because, first of all, we spend more time there probably than we do awake at our own home. But secondly, it is our home. It's our environment. We're inviting them in. How would you invite someone into your home? Okay, think that's what you're doing. Okay, when they leave, how are you acting? How are they acting? Is there a smile on your face? If there is, it's been a successful interaction. Or bonus, the kid comes the next day and says, my parents really enjoyed meeting you. That tells you that was successful. Now, if there is something, suppose that it's a challenging situation and you've had to work with the parent even as early as that first encounter on what are we going to do going forward. If you have some kind of a plan in place when they leave and you know what the next step is going to be, that's a successful parent conference too.
True. Yeah. So Angela and Ashley, you're coming at parent-teacher conferences from very different ends of the grade level spectrum. Do you want to add anything to that? But first, Sarah, thank you. I love that idea. You're inviting them into your home and let that set the tone. I love that. But now, Angela or Ashley, anything from the grade level ends?
I think that one thing to keep in mind too, parent-teacher conferences for us are always in the evening. So the parent has already had a day at work. They're taking time out of their evening to come and see you. So make sure you are making that pleasant and positive for them because not all parents are going to take that time to come see you. And they have because they want to work with you and make sure that their students have a good experience.
Yeah. I'll also say more at the elementary level, sometimes students will come with them. And I always encourage that. I know some corporations or districts do have student-led conferences. And I always say, whatever I'd say to your parent, I'd say to you, like, we're all on the same team. And so that just walking away with the feeling that we're all on the same team working for a child, like that makes me feel success.
I agree. I completely agree with you. Well, Angela, I'm going to come right back to you actually with our next question. What strategies do you use to prepare for conferences? This was a key for me. Once I figured this little step out, I felt like conferences became a game changer. But what steps do you do in advance to make that very limited time as productive as possible?
Yeah, I was actually just talking with some new teachers about this the other day because you're scheduling 15-minute back-to-back conferences. And, if you're trying to be meaningful and not show that things are rushed and welcome people in, like Sarah said, to your home. I always really try to make sure, like, I work very well in file folders. And so, like, I had a file folder for each kid in a crate, and you've got reports coming from different teachers and your own reports, and sometimes from that resource setting or that multilingual setting. So really making sure, first off, you have all the reports, then in an organized manner, and then you're able to put them in the order in which the conferences are going to be. So you can just really grab that next one on top. And I think having all those things together, it alleviates your own stress, so you can then be comfortable and create that environment. So it's really that prep beforehand that really truly makes a difference.
Yeah. Sarah or Ashley, you both have lots of experience. Is there any strategy you use in advance that you feel works really well?
Well, I have two things that I did. One is to actually have the students assemble a portfolio of things they'd like their parents to see. That could be my best piece of work, something I had trouble with, maybe a recent test, although if they flunked it, they may not want to put it in there. But nonetheless, or it could be the one piece I want my parents to see. But somehow or another, let them have a hand in it. I think that can be really helpful. And then another thing that I found to be helpful was to preview anything that was going to be really difficult that was upcoming. Perhaps it's like a research paper where it's multi-step, takes a long time. And if you can anticipate where a student is likely to have trouble, then you can sort of prep the parents that they could help with this, or if they can't help with it, be prepared for the fact that the student might be flummoxed by it, and help is coming when they get back to class the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are great. Ashley, anything you do?
I'll piggyback I have some sort of like handout or deliverable for them, like letting them know what is going to be coming up this year. So I teach entrepreneurship, and my students go to a lot of different competitions. So having the dates out there ready for them, that way they can put it into their fridge if they want, and they know what's coming up.
Yep, I did the same thing. I had a half sheet of paper that on the front was things I could fill out, information I wanted the parent to have, because you're throwing so much information at them so fast. And so they were always thankful that they got to walk away with that piece of paper with the info on it. But then on the back was dates and important things, important phone numbers. I did not leave an empty white space. I'm filling it up, putting info in your hand, because I don't know when I'm going to get to see you again. And I want to make sure you have what I think you need for your kid to be successful. So many great tips there.
Marty, can I jump back in? I'm so sorry.
Absolutely.
I thought of one more thing, because that time is so valuable and so quick. I think sometimes as teachers, all these, whether it's state reporting or just like NWEA or some other report that you're doing throughout the year, sometimes we think that parents can decipher that fairly easily, and sometimes it looks like a different language. So trying to cram in exactly how to read it. You might be able to point out a couple of things, but one thing I've done, since COVID is make Loom videos and show an example. And so then you can push that out. Hey, thank you all for attending conferences. If you want a reminder about how to read this paper, here's an example. I wanted to, so you're not like trying to explain everything in a hurry.
Right. Because there's too many other important things to talk about that you don't want to talk about how to decipher this random piece of paper.
Yeah.
That when they go talk to someone else, that info's gone by the time they get home anyway.
Yes.
So give them a video that they can watch when they get home. Yes. Oh, Angela, brilliant.
Yeah. I just remembered that.
Love that. Ashley, what approaches do you use to make sure that conferences are a two-way conversation? We've just said we have so much information to give to them, and it's not just about us. So what do you do to make sure it's a two-way give and take?
I always like to start asking the parents, tell me a little bit about your student. What do they like to do at home? Because parents love talking about their kids, and then, that information could be helpful later on in maybe they like to play a certain game, or they're involved in some sort of activity that you didn't know. And now you have that information and you can ask the kid about it. And it just helps build that relationship as well.
You know, sometimes it's the littlest things that you're like, that's brilliant. That qualifies. Let the parent talk about their kid first. Brilliant. Yeah. Sarah, this is a rough question, but I gotta ask. There are difficult conversations that sometimes have to happen in parent-teacher conferences. They just do, whether they're academic, whether they're behavioral, whether they're the friends the kid is choosing. I mean, it can run the gamut. And because you have that parent there, you know it's a time that you need to at least start the conversation. How do you navigate those difficult conversations without damaging the relationship that is just so new and so fragile?
Absolutely. And there will always be difficult conversations. There isn't a living teacher who hasn't had a difficult conversation. Yep. And so most of them are not, but every once in a while there is one like that. Now, if it's an academic question, if you keep a portfolio, the evidence is in the portfolio. It isn't you being vindictive about their kid or trying to, put the child in a bad light. It's just, okay, so here's the evidence that there's a problem. What can we do together? You have to be empathetic about that particular problem. So what can we do together? One of the best, if it's a behavioral problem, one of the best strategies I just recently discovered from an elementary teacher, and I was a high school teacher, is asking the parent, what do you do at home? If it's a behavioral problem, what do you do at home? Does this manifest there? And let us suppose that it does, and it probably does. Yes. What do they do? And then, is that successful? Could we come up with a different way? Or if it is successful, is there some way I could implement that here in the classroom? Let's work together. Let's have a plan for how we're going to work when something, what we're going to do when this happens.
Oh, that's good. I had never thought about that before. I love that. So you said you saw that done in an elementary setting?
I did, but what's good for elementary is good for high school.
100%. 100. And I agree with you. If it's manifesting at school, it's probably also manifesting at home. Odds are good. Yeah. Angela or Ashley, you want to add anything about difficult conversations and how to navigate them? Because this is one of those topics. You can't have too many tools in your toolbox when it comes to this.
Yeah. I always like to start and point out the good qualities in the kids because I've been teaching for 13 years and I have yet to find a kid who doesn't have a good quality. So start with those. I love this about your child, but we're having some problems, in this area. How can I make him or her more successful in this area like he or she is, in these other areas?
Yeah. I love that. Something I do at the elementary level is do like a self-reflection form. First off, I just don't feel like we reflect enough as humans. We just keep going. And so just teaching kids like, hey, and usually the report card will kind of speak to the academic piece because that's something we normally hand out around this time for the first quarter. But the self-reflection form is more of behavioral or just management wise. And it sounds kind of, kids tell themselves. I always say, be like, in order you have to reflect, be honest. How do you think you're doing? And, and that's one of the first things we look at. And usually I let the kids color it, in elementary school, we can brighten things up a little bit. And so, just going over that and being like, hey, and actually it's a great talking point because I can be like, I agree with what they're saying there, or I would have rated them higher on that. Like they actually they're actually not doing that very much. And then I always say, this is a great talking point to take home and have those conversations too. So I really, that again, that's how I kind of opened up everything. And it's a great way to be like pointing out those great qualities too, like Ashley said.
Oh, so many good tips there. Ashley, I love what you said about talking about the good things, because it's not just about talking about the good parts of the kid. It's forcing us to be specific. It's not a whole problem. They're a great human. There's just one tiny little thing that we could work on. So I love that idea. And oh, Angela, the amount of reflection that went on in my middle school classroom drove my students a little bonkers at the beginning of the year, but they grew to love it. But yes, what a great idea to let the kids reflect and then use that as your intro. What a great idea. Yeah, I love that. All right, last question. And actually, Angela, I'm going to come back to you. Well, not all of you are going to get the very last question. This is our next to last question. But I'll start with you, Angela, on this one. What methods have you found to be effective for follow-up after those conferences? Because it's not just a once and done. This is October, probably, when you're having this conversation with your parents. You got a lot of school year left. So what's happening? What are some of those next steps you're taking?
To be honest, I think this is one of the toughest parts, is once you get through all the conferences. I usually worked hard to take notes, like of the different pieces that I wanted to follow up on, or the concerns that I needed to look into. I think the reason why it was tough sometimes too is that usually conferences right after that is fall break, and you've got about 2 weeks when you're off. And so it's really easy to kind of forget about what was said. So one thing that I found successful is to be like, I want to follow up. I'm going to put it on the calendar of when I'm going to follow up, and to really commit myself to make sure those parents understand that I listen to them and we are on a team, and I am going to look out for whatever we said. And now we're going to follow up on it. So, elementary school, and I mean, even high school, middle school, you could have 28 conferences and you've got 28 kids. And so just kind of giving yourself the grace of which one do I need to follow up with first? Kind of prioritizing a little bit too is very helpful.
Great idea. Ashley or Sarah, you want to add anything there?
Well, I'll add something really practical that I learned when email first started being a big problem for teachers in terms of the volumes that they would get. A parent wanted me to call weekly to give an update on the child. Now, a high school teacher could have 120 to 180 students. Suppose that every one of them said, email me, and you can see why this could be a problem. So what I found was if I said to the parent, I'd be happy to talk with you on a weekly basis, but will you email me? Mm-hmm. It turns that around for them to take the responsibility for the follow-up. And it's not because you don't want to, it's simply a practical matter.
Yeah.
If.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because and many of my parents would realize that they had one child to keep track of, and I had 100.
There's no reason you can't explain that to the parent.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Another little practical thing is if you have a business card to give them with the hours that you are available, both during the day and in the evening, because you do need to go to bed, then you can hand that to them.
Yeah. What a neat idea. That is a great idea. And probably not a lot of teachers do it, but I know you can get business cards printed really, really
make
cheap.
them on Canva. Real quick.
Great point. Make them on Canva. Best answer to every question. Ashley, you want to add anything there?
Yeah, utilizing some of the tools that your school district may have too, as like your Google Classroom or your Parent Square. And you'll be able to send quick, reminders out, and thank you for coming to see me. I'll be posting newsletters or updates here, and if you have questions, contact me.
Yeah, let me put a quick blurb in there. For Keep Indiana Learning just published a blog, in the last couple months about newsletters to high school classrooms. And the writer shared some templates that she uses, and you could go get her templates out of our blog. So yeah, I love that idea. It's a great one. Much better than, or much not better. They're much prettier than the ones I used to send out through Skyward, but they got the job done. All right, last question. If we boil everything down, what is one quick win tip for maximizing the impact of conferences? This is your elevator pitch. I'm giving you 3 sentences here, max. What's your one quick win? Oh, I didn't tell you who was going to go first with this question. So somebody can just jump in.
Okay. I will. I was supposed to do first on this one anyway. So,
Okay.
okay. So say something positive about the child. First of all, it'll make the parent know that you care about the child, but it also says something about you. That parent wants to know as much about who you are as what you know about their child.
Yeah.
And so when you say something positive, you're saying something about yourself as well.
Oh, Sarah, that's good. That's really good. All right, Ashley or Angela, what's your quick win?
I'll go next. You just need to show genuine excitement and care for what you do, because parents want their kids to be taught by someone who loves teaching. Okay? They don't want them to be taught by someone who's grumpy. So show them what you love. We all got into this because we love it. Sometimes there's hard parts, but remember why you love it and show that to the parent.
All right.
I know, now I'm last. This is kind of random, and it's not about the actual conference. Just don't let the conference be the first time you're making an intentional connection.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to make your conference a win if you have not let them know within 9 weeks or so that they matter before then. Especially for those that may have some difficult conversations at conferences. You don't want that to be the first time you're making that. Yeah. And then I'll preach it till the day I die. Relationships first. Make sure you are, no matter what you do, relationships comes first.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, ladies, what a fantastic first session that you have kicked us off with. Thank you for letting me be a part of it and learning from you. If you would like to connect with the Indiana Milken Network, here is their email address, indianamilkennetwork@gmail.com. And that email will go to this group and others. And they will, I'm going to volunteer you guys here. You're going to be happy to connect and support other Indiana educators. So use this resource. How often do you get the recipient of the Oscars of teaching giving you their email address? And that's what we got going on right here. So Ashley and Angela and Sarah, thank you so much for your time. This has been just an absolute delight. And what great strategies, so practical, that you've shared today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Truly. Truly.
And we hope to see you next month with our October episode. Give you a little sneak peek here of the title, From Passive to Passionate, Cultivating Motivated Learners. So we will see you in October.